Hello all. This is Rick Chambers, the Executive Director of the Center Education Foundation. And we are very pleased today to welcome three esteemed music educators. We've got Carolyn Knapp, who was the Director of Bands at Center. She worked in Center for 30 years as a music educator, starting in 1971 at Boone Elementary, and then also at the junior high school and high school level before retiring in 2001. Dr. Amy Knopps was the director of bands at the high school from 2003 to 2005. And Mr. Tim Greenwell, he's the glue that held it all together while he was there between 1993 and 2007. The assistant director of bands, head of the Student Government Association. He pioneered a leadership class at Center. And all three of these educators have just had a tremendously profound effect on an awful lot of students over the years. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about their experiences with the Center Band and as band directors. And I guess I'll start off. We'll start with Carolyn, since you were around the longest. And tell me some of your favorite experiences. Everybody in band remembers the band trips. Tell us some favorite experiences from band trips.
Oh, the favorite experience was the Cotton Bowl when we went to Dallas, Texas. It was an amazing time. It was in January, and so the weather was an issue. And I can remember that I think Tim and I were with the band having lunch, trying to decide whether or not we were going to honestly do that parade because the snow was going to come. It hadn't come yet. And we were watching the weather very carefully and decided we would line up. So the whole band lined it up. I believe that we were right behind the Kansas State band. And of course, as we were standing there, the snow did begin. And did it ever snow? The largest flakes. I have the most wonderful picture of the band with the snowflakes coming down. By the end of the parade, we had snow on our hats, the snow on the drums, and very chilly guard members. And then that afternoon, after the parade, we were getting ready to go to South Fork, where they were going to have the party and the award ceremony. And a number of the bands did not get to go because it was icy in Dallas. And so Tim said, I can get the charters there. I know how to go. So we got in the charters and we got to go to South Fork for the party as well as for their honors. And we were very, very fortunate. We took many of the honors that day. We took first in the parade at the golden level. We took first in the field show. We took the best drum majors in the 24 bands that were there. It was an amazing. I know I was in the restroom and there was a girl there from another school. And she just said, Center just took everything. And it was one of our special nights. Going to Dallas that day, coming home with all of those trophies, meeting with the band parents who met us, knowing that the community had supported us, all the fundraising, the administration who had allowed us to go. It was an amazing time. I'll never, ever, ever forget it.
Thank you, Carolyn. Tim, I know you're on that trip. You probably got some memories as well.
Well, Carol described it perfectly and very accurately, and I share all those same memories. And truly, the parade was both the most amazingly interesting event, I think, in my lifetime. And Carolyn's right. I mean, no sooner did we line up than that snow started. But I think that was probably one of my most proudest moments in all of my time at Center was those kids and our chaperones and Carolyn and I just literally marching through it. No one fell out of rank. Everyone played and spun and danced and did everything they were supposed to do, just like we rehearsed. And we went that entire parade route with everyone doing what they were supposed to do. And it was truly moving, touching, and freezing. And I remember we got right into the Coliseum there on the State Fairgrounds, where the parade and the bowl game were held. And it was truly the biggest relief. I think we were more cold in Dallas than we ever had been in Kansas City. And that is saying a lot. But truly, I was so proud of Carolyn's leadership to the whole bowl experience, but particularly going forward with the parade. And then, of course, every single center person, because everyone else, pretty much all the other groups have made it through the parade unscathed, unsnowed, whatever. And we were the ones that got caught in that snowstorm. And it continued to snow from then on. I mean, it didn't stop. It was just amazing. So I kind of like to think that we brought the snow with us, but we certainly persevered. And it was a truly great Yellow Jacket moment.
You know, I was fortunate enough to be a parent volunteer on that trip. And one of my distinct memories was after the parade, when some of the members of the Guard who'd been holding their flags for the entire parade were convinced that they had frostbite and that their fingers were going to fall off.
Yes.
And it took much persuading on the part of parents of, yes, it hurts now, but it will get better shortly. And it did. But what a wonderful trip. And as you say, what a great testimony to the community that is centered. Amy, what are some of your favorite trip memories?
Sure. And just to tag on to that, I distinctly remember the picture of Mr. Greenwell, in the parade with the snow and the look on his face like, what is this? And that proudly displayed, in your classroom. And it was perfect. And and coming in, to the Center School District, right after, Carolyn's time, and as we were planning for the Holiday Bowl, which I'll go into in a moment, all of these memories of that trip were so fresh, and the excitement of, okay, it's the year of the bowl trip. Okay, well, where are we going to go? Is it going to be comparable to the Cotton Bowl? What new memories, would this bring? And I love how the decision was made to go to San Diego instead of Dallas to go to what was then the Holiday Bowl. And so we thought we would be successful, heading west instead of heading south. And we took our chances with it not snowing. And luckily, it did not snow in California. But I have fond memories of coming into the position with building and leading, with Mr. Greenwell, that trip for our students. And I think that's one of the really special items about the center band program is the experiences the students had access to because, of course, of Carolyn's long tenure and Mr. Greenwell, that partnership as well. There was a solid rotation of experiences. And I'll never forget how many students were so excited about that trip because many had not been out of the state or really out of that, Missouri, Kansas, bi-state area. So that to me was always really exciting, for them, to have those experiences and to get on that long bus ride and head out to, California. And of course we stopped at Winslow, Arizona. And I remember us getting a bunch of pictures, standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona as we headed out to that trip and to be, part of the college, band atmosphere, to join other high school band programs, from across the country, and to again provide those students with that experience was my biggest takeaway and one of my favorite elements about, that Holiday Bowl trip. And again, working on the promise was, I don't think it'll snow. I think we're going to be okay, as we headed out to San Diego.
It never snows in San Diego, right?
We had beautiful weather, which was great.
That's wonderful. Any other trip stories anybody wants to share?
Well, another on the concert side of things, I remember also when I started my position there. We hosted Iowa State's marching band, and that was one of the first things that we did that fall. And I remember that summer, as we were having our summer rehearsals, Tim on the phone working to get the homestays set up for the Iowa State University Marching Cyclones. And then we were able to take the concert band up to Ames, Iowa. And that was an opportunity for us not only partner with the college band, but also a way for them to give back to our band program for the hospitality that we offered, to them with not only the homestays, but also we let them use our facilities, and we allowed them to, perform, Friday night prior to the Saturday performance they had scheduled. So that was, on the concert side, a really great experience, because we did a performance, at Iowa State. Then their band program performed, and then we did a combined work. And for our students to sit next to college level age students and they could see themselves, performing at the college level was a memorable experience.
What are some of the takeaways you think students got from that kind of interaction with college musicians?
Well, I personally think that it encouraged more of our students from center to consider band as an opportunity for themselves in college, whether they were majoring in music or not. We had a couple of students prior to that time that had gone into college band, which was great. But I definitely think that once Carolyn and I started bringing college band directors into clinician at center, which included Mike Galimo, Melvin Miles, Frank Trace. Once we started bringing those individuals in for spring concert band pre-contest clinics, and then when we made that trip to Ames and were clinicianed by Mike on the campus of Iowa State University, I saw a growth in the number of kids who went on to college band, which I found very rewarding because I know that all three of us can speak to having great experiences in band in college and kept our love of music going and became the educators, I think, contributed to the educators that we are today. So for me, I think that was the direct connection and a benefit, in addition to having just that expertise, that knowledge. And what I loved most is, Carolyn, Amy, Carrie Shuck, whoever was the director at the time, what we said was restated by these college professors. And it was great because, we would sit in the wings or in the audience and everything, listening and watching and taking notes. And here were these men, these professional college educators, saying to the high school kids the same things that we had said to them. So it was just great. It was an awesome moment, I think, professionally for us to be supported by those men.
One thing
Enhance the credibility a little bit. Carolyn, your thoughts?
Yeah, one thing that took place when I was there was that Craig Miller was getting his doctorate degree at UMKC and decided to start a group that would be across state lines, Missouri and Kansas, and through audition would allow students to come and create a concert band. And it was, we had a number of our center students who made that group, and I took them down to UMKC for rehearsals, and they presented wonderful concerts. So he became one of our guest clinicians, and that was another avenue between the university and our high school.
Wonderful. Speaking of concert band, what are some of the favorite pieces of music that the bands performed during your time there?
For me, well, there was a piece of music that was commissioned by the center band aids, the center administration, the school district, and I think that Tim was probably the one who started this. I would guess a year in advance, because I had announced that I was retiring in 2001. And what they did was they contacted Mike Galimo, Dr. Galimo, Iowa State University director of bands, and he wrote a piece specifically for our center band called One Bright Shining Star. And it featured a number of our high advanced players, soloists, and he really designed it specifically for the center band to be presented at the Parade of Bands on my final Parade of Bands concert. Well, one night we had a meeting at center, and we were in the library, and I had been told that the hallway to the band room was closed because they were going to refinish the floors and no one was to go to the band room. Well, somebody asked me to go to the band room to get something. I don't know what it was. So I'm walking to the band room and I thought, nobody's doing the floors down here. And so then we went back later. I found out that Dr. Glimo was there at center with Tim doing a rehearsal with our kids for this presentation. And they had all fled to the choir room because I was coming down the hallway. It was only later that I heard about this story of all the kids scattering so that I would not. I had no clue. And the next day I said, I don't understand it. These floors don't look any differently than they did. So then at the Parade of Bands, which of course is the 5th grade band, 6th grade band, 7th grade band, 8th grade band, and the high school band. Now, Tim, what I didn't know in advance was that he had contacted my relatives and my close friends. And so I was conducting like the 7th grade band, and I looked into the audience, and there were my aunt and uncle. And then I saw my friend like from Colorado, and I had no clue until we got to the high school band, and then they presented Dr. Glimo and the One Bright Shining Star piece of music, which I still have all of that music. As a matter of fact, I just looked at it the other day because I wanted to see what the solo parts were like. And Tim, you pulled that off. I mean, that was absolutely amazing. I'm sure I was completely speechless, but that was the high point of the music for me at center.
That was quite a night. You do discover when people plan surprises like that, how good they are at deceiving you.
I had no clue. I mean, it was amazing. It was funny. I was walking between the bands and I would look up and I would point. I go, and of course, Tim had contacted all of them and had them and had planned the whole thing. The whole night was just magical for me. It was the greatest experience. A wonderful way for a person to retire after 30 years.
Tim, can you share some of the other side of that same story?
Yes, and Carolyn, every single moment of it was worth it. When you had announced your retirement, it took me back because I credit you, Carolyn, for everything that I've done in education. If it had not been for that interview at Applebee's
in the parking lot
down from the KU Med Center in August of '93 to hire me as a flag corps coach of all things. But that moment there started my career, which is now in its 28th year. And I mean, from flag corps coach to elementary school principal and everything in between. So Carolyn, I'm so glad to have honored you and had everyone join in, because it truly was, as Rick has said, and there's a lot of moments in this conversation where center community shines through. Mm-hmm. That community, the center community, is really the key to all of this. Everything that we had success in doing was because of the support of the families at center and the students believing and buying into it. And One Bright Shining Star was absolutely a pinnacle of that buy-in and that support. There was not a moment of hesitation from anyone at all, from the administration at the district level, the high school level, the Band-Aids, none of the kids. Everyone's was all in. What can we do? Doesn't matter how much it costs, how much time it takes, what we need to do secretly to pull it off. We are in. So it was really one of the biggest surprises I've ever organized, but really one of the easiest because of the support. But certainly the honoree was worthy of that, because Carolyn, 30 years in a single district and all the changes you went through, and particularly right before I got there, with you having already been at Center Middle School and running that program, and then being asked to go to Center High School and run that program simultaneously. How many people do that? No one. So to cap off your career with the last several years being both the director of bands at Center Middle School and Center High School, a tribute to you, Carolyn. And One Bright Shining Star was perfectly titled, perfectly written, because yes, it did feature our band so well. And I just love the connection with Mike Galimo, who's a fraternity brother of mine and a fellow past national president of Kappa Kappa Psi. But Mike signed, I mean, as soon as I hinted at it, Mike was like, when can we do it? How can I come in clinician? Let me know. I'll do anything at all. I admire Carolyn Knapp so much. And so everyone made it easy, so to speak. But I was so pleased that we were able to surprise you. And again, a tribute to the kids, because no one was like, oh my gosh, next rehearsal. Oh my gosh, another evening. Oh my gosh. They're like, for Mrs. Knapp, we're doing this. I'm here. Well, a new piece of music, all for us. What? We're here. So, I mean, just again, everything about the experience, I don't think would have happened the same had it not been at Center. And it had it not been about Carolyn.
It was amazing.
But yes, the running around behind the scenes and the fake hallway cleaning and everything. Yeah.
I love it. It's so perfect.
A lot of details, but I mean, it went off beautifully and could not be more happy about it all. And that piece is still available from CL Barnhouse for $76,
Yes.
complete score instead of parts. So just to let y'all know.
Could be used at Mizzou, Amy.
That's right. Absolutely.
Are there, Amy, are there any particular pieces of music that you remember from your time at Center?
Well, very similarly, because of the success of that commission, I remember that we partnered with the Center Education Foundation to create another new work for our band program with the composer Jonathan Newman, titled 1861. And for that, it became such an educational experience for the students because we actually brought Jonathan out twice. He wrote probably a third of the piece, and he presented that to our students. We workshopped it, and then he went back to New York and finished the piece after hearing our ensemble, seeing our students, hearing what they were capable of. And then we brought him back out to Kansas City for the premiere. And that was a real special moment for us, another opportunity for us to solely commission, a work of an outstanding composer. And that piece is still available today. And many of my colleagues in the collegiate band area, utilize that piece. That piece has been played a number of times, both, at the collegiate level and of course at the high school level. And it was moving to describe our students to Jonathan as the composer. And there's certain elements of that piece that were written specifically for our students. For example, the large clarinet solo, it was written specifically for Amy Jantz, who was our all-state clarinetist, first chair. And to be able to tie in not only our program, but the great students of our program to a piece of music that is, continually available is really special. And again, that speaks to that support, as Tim mentioned before, of the center community, that commitment of the foundation to invest in our students, invest in our program, and that yielded really special moments and experiences and results. And forever, that piece at the top says dedicated to, Center High School.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned several. You mentioned Parade of Bands with the One Shining Star. You talk a little bit about that event, which I think is kind of a unique event in a lot of high school music. Talk about what that means to the students and the parents and the community, and to you as staff.
The Parade of Bands is something that just draws all the students forward, the fifth graders and the sixth graders from all the elementary schools. And then for me, I was with the seventh grade and then the eighth grade and then the high school. One of the parts that I enjoyed the very most was the finale of America. And we would start with the fifth grade and the sixth grade, and they would be playing. And then you would start joining in with the seventh grade and the eighth grade. And then the whole high school band would take it. And what I'm just getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And you could just feel the audience with the pride and the fullness in the gym of all of the musical sounds, and it would just bring everybody to their feet. And one year we had the percussionists with American flags, and it was just a great experience.
Absolutely.
Other memories of parade of bands?
Well, I think, like Carolyn mentioned, probably bringing forth together about a fourth of the community or the student enrollment in the district all at one event was amazing. And that we put everyone into the blue gym at center was incredible. To see all 5 of those bands fanned out across the floor, and to look up in the stands and see every seat taken and standing room only was truly another tribute to the support of band and instrumental music and the support of the community. But just that the kids and their enjoyment and their involvement in the band program, like Carolyn mentioned, I mean, from 5th grade to 12th grade, just that the building upon the experiences and seeing them all together was incredible. And to have each band really perform at their best in April of every school year and really culminate the school year for most of them was just a tribute to the kids. And yes, America, the finale, I mean, it just could not be a better event. And I'm so glad it's still going on. And I know it's had some bubbles with, things with COVID, just like everything else. But truly a testament of time-honored tradition to have parade of bands. And just the beaming pride of everyone and all those parents and guardians, family members there, taking just ownership of, that's my kid, or those are my kids. I mean, of course, at any given time at center, any family had multiple kids involved in whatever the activity was, but particularly in band at any level. So, having everyone together as a one big family truly is a true statement.
Yeah, I remember the multi-generational aspect of it. I remember taking my kids and they would see their older cousins who were playing the bands, and then not too many years later they were not down for themselves. So it really is a unique event. Any thoughts on that, Amy?
Oh, absolutely. And I grew up in Leaf Summit, and we had a very comparable experience in our district. It's called Cavalcade Bands. And so this concept was very comfortable to me. And I remember my experience of a student growing up from 5th grade through 12th grade in that district, taking part in that event. I knew how special it was for each year to not only perform as our ensemble in our grade, but also to see the other ensembles, especially as you look up to the junior high, you look up to the high school. And so that's what, I really try to communicate to our students, look at this just evolution of where you're starting and where you're going to finally go as you continue your enrollment in band throughout your time in the district. And, one day you will be a senior, you will be acknowledged as a senior, receive your senior award, as you, finish your 12th grade year and your time in band. And I think that was something that's really special to see that continuation, to see, in one night, not only where you're going, from your 5th or 6th grade seat, but where you can see yourself as you continue in our program all the way through 12th grade. Because that was, of course, one of our goals. We want our students to continue, to be in our program throughout their entire experience at center. And that event showcased that and connected our students to that goal, because they could see the entire instrumental music program on display in one night. And I remember, we would, as our Department of Music, we would meet, was it weekly or at least monthly? And I remember, we were coming up with different agenda items, and I'd be talking to Tim in the office, and then Tim always would say, well, parade of bands, every meeting we got to meet about and talk about parade of bands. Because it is just that large of event and it takes so much coordination. And so we would always talk about parade of bands.
Well, and Rick,
That has always been one of Tim's many gifts is the ability to organize and take care of all the myriad of details. And I know Carolyn and Amy, you both appreciated having that skill set.
well, and Rick, I appreciated that role too, because Carolyn grew that role. Because like I mentioned a little while ago, I was hired as a flag corps coach. I was hired to come in for an hour every day, right? Every morning during the fall, and received whatever, I think it was $300 or $600 stipend or whatever back in the day. And that was all well and good. I was happy to do it, and I was happy to be involved in band. But then, it is Carolyn's vision, she wanted the assistance, again, running 2 programs at 2 different schools. And she had some other help here and there, but then just letting us run with it. I mean, the 2 of us discussing our ideas and embracing tradition and all the events that have already been in place at the center, but then growing that tradition and giving the kids more opportunities. And that's really what the program became, was a program of a lot of opportunities. It went from the and we have such an honored tradition at center with Claude Smith and Don Shaffer, Kent Roush. I mean, we inherited some great lineage in music education. And, Carolyn took the bull by the horns, and, I think Kent was the one that started the bowl game trips for the band program. And then Carolyn, I think, was the one that said, let's make it, let's do this regularly. And we, I think after a year or 2, developed the every 3rd semester trip. So it would go from marching band to concert band, so that each type of musical organization could get equal play, right? And having that another experience. And so we got on that 3-semester schedule, which was very helpful in planning and making sure almost every kid got at least 2 trips in that band program, if not 3. And that and then just kept growing from there. And then, like some of the other things that were mentioned, I mean, hosting college marching bands. I mean, Iowa State, Oklahoma, having guest clinicians. Carolyn approved the taking the former drill team program and enveloping it into the band program to become dance line. That flag corps position went from flag corps to color guard to winter guard,
Right.
which led to winter drum line.
Right.
Rick, it's just amazing what the people on this screen right here, along with Carrie Shuck, who followed Amy, and the Jeff Lynn year, the gap year between Carolyn and Amy, we've Center's maintained, and not only maintained, which is pretty good in most people's books, but we really took it to the next level. And honestly, for a program as smaller as it is, in a smaller high school, in a small contained district, the opportunities that kids had in that program were better or surpassed the opportunities that kids have in bigger programs. Being in Texas now for 14 years almost, and being around a lot of bigger programs as well as seeing smaller programs, I take great pride in the fact that in my 14 years, Carolyn's 30, Amy's 3, that our kids received all of those experiences that they did, and I think got a lot out of them, enjoyed them, and really propelled them into adulthood as better prepared, better organized, better talented musicians, or appreciation for music than I think a lot of kids everywhere else. And I'm very proud of that, and very proud of working with the people that I was able to work with.
Talk a little bit about the impact that being in the band program has on students, not only musically, but just in terms of their overall development.
Well, I've always thought that anytime you participate in a music program, whether it's choir or band or orchestra or whatever, if you continue with it, that's great. If you don't, you have learned an appreciation of that art form. And so that was one, if a student quit, that's too bad. But the reality was they're going to have an appreciation for what it took to learn to play that instrument or to sing that piece of music. And so that was one thing that I've always thought. When you're in a group, you learn leadership, you develop memories, you develop friendships. it grows you as a person. And so for me, starting in the 5th grade on my instrument, it was just part of my life. And for me, even though I've been retired since 2011, because I taught 10 more years after leaving center, I'm still playing in an orchestra, in my church orchestra, which is a very strong one, at the Church of the Resurrection, and which we don't get to play right now, but hopefully we'll be back by next fall, is what I would hope. But music is just life. And one of the joys that I have is watching you, Tim, with your principalship that you do and your Santa Claus outfit that I just saw you on Facebook, and Dr. Amy, I'm so proud of you, and knowing that when you came, like even I remember like you when you were there to interview, or you were with us at early on before you were the director there. The joy that I have with music and the continuation of everything, and our kids. I still am in touch with a number of the students that we've had at center, and it's just a delight to watch what their lives are, and to know that music had such a. I'll never forget. Leonard Davis was doing his solo at contest, and the fire alarm went off, and Leonard just continued to play. It was just and the judges, we just sat there and he just continued to play. It was amazing. So music is life.
It really is. And what was really striking for me was just the diversity of our program and our students. And our students thrived on that. They loved the relationships and the friendships they built in our program. And that is a byproduct of the level of activities that we had in our program and the dedication to our students, because we went above and beyond to really bring those activities, to our students and for our students. And they thrived. And I know that has prepared them well for their time post center, and they reflect on that, a lot. And that is at the heart of who they are. And they feel like they can talk to anyone because of the education they received in the district. And particularly, in our band program, being involved, and having the opportunity to achieve what we did in our program. It's really special.
I can remember the first time that we marched the American Royal Parade.
Yeah.
And then it became the standard that
Yeah.
the center band was going to lead in the American Royal Parade.
Mhm.
Remember how glorious our drum line and practicing. And I remember the first time that I had just taken over the high school. It was the first time that we had graduation, and the concert band was to sit on the track and to play the pomp and circumstance and the alma mater alternately, while the graduates would go through their congratulatory line.
Mm-hmm.
Those first memories are just still amazing and fresh in my mind.
Sure. And I'm glad you brought up that American Royal Parade. Those are some fun memories. And I remember one morning was particularly cold. So I felt like I got a little bit of that Cotton Bowl experience. It didn't snow, but oh man, it was cold. And I remember we consistently, won that competition that is, held in conjunction with the parade. And when the Royals won the World Championship, I remember our center was invited to be in that parade, and that brought back, and I was so proud, and that brought back such great memories of the American Royal. And it's just beautiful to see them and see the footage that they that they captured, and seeing that on the DVD, and how they packaged that. And so it was really special, and I'm really proud of our district and our students.
One of the nice things about the World Series parade,
and Amy,
being the World Series, is there were no horses in that parade. So as musicians, you didn't have to dodge the droppings from the horses.
Right. I know. Tim, you were really great about talking with the kids about, okay, what do you do as you see a camera person in front of you, or you see that, how do you still navigate going around? And you were good about giving the kids a heads up about that.
Absolutely. Well, and Amy, I believe that our presence in the American Royal Parade all those years was the determining factor to lead the Royals Parade, the celebratory parade for the championship.
Right.
And always, I was so proud of the fact that we represented the entire district, and we never let anyone in Kansas City or the region forget about Center, because we were there every year. And there was one year or a couple of years where we did double duty, where we went and did the American Royal Parade and then got back on the buses and went to Carrollton for the marching festival in Carrollton.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Many times when we did that, we did double duty a lot, because again, thankfully, all of us and our teams at the time believed in giving those opportunities to the kids, but also we really took seriously representing Center School District. I mean, we proclaimed ourselves as the ambassadors of the school district, and we were truly the musical ambassadors. And I think we carried out that representation locally often, but then also too on all these bowl game trips and concert band trips, and just, again, so thankful for those memories. And I think, Rick, that's what contributed a lot to the kids, just that building of confidence, that opportunity to time manage, because goodness knows, I mean, when you have a double-sided piece of paper, 9-point font schedule for band for your year,
yes,
there's a lot of stuff going on, and you have to manage time. We all know Center too. Center, not only all of the opportunities in band, but Center is an equal opportunity school district, right? So to speak, that if you want to play soccer or swim or kick for the football team, you want to be in National Honor Society and Student Government Association, you can do it all at Center. And of course, it takes a lot of cooperation between the adults, which we found out over the years, but really too for the kids, they had to make choices about their options and their requirements. And it really, really, I think helped them learn early on how to make decisions and manage their time and be appreciative of what they create, what they help create. I remember too, Amy mentioned a lot of the kids not having been out of the state of Missouri or the Kansas City area. But I also remember too, when Carolyn Knapp told me about a student of ours who lived in a home with dirt floors. And I was just stunned that anyone in a city, in our district, or, in modern times, whatever, could live in those situations. Beautiful girl, hard worker, one of our best band members, at everything, of course. And, to go from her experience, her living experience, to the kids who had not really been out of the area, to the kids who had and lived in the south part of the district, just that being able to work together, no matter what your socioeconomic, what your ethnicity, what your upbringing or your background, your family situation, all of our kids came together as Center, and specifically for us, came together as the Center High School band, and everything else was left at the door. So whenever we were together, you could tell no difference really between everyone and everything that they brought, with them, because they were all about really performing, rehearsing, and being a part of a group, having great experiences and creating those memories like Carolyn mentioned.
Well, those are great stories, and thank you for sharing those. A couple names that you mentioned, just if you could share a little bit of your knowledge of them. Don Shaffer and Claude T. Smith. We'll start with Claude T. Smith, and he is somebody who's had a tremendous impact on the world of band. Talk a little bit about him. I know none of you were at Center when he was there, but just the impact he's had on band in general.
Well, my first experience with Claude T. Smith was at the University of Kansas as an undergraduate and being in the program there. And we played a lot of his literature. Claude had a deep connection to KU. And so I just remember really just admiring the man for his musical talent and the compositions that I was able to play as a member of the ensemble. And then, of course, he made visits to KU, and we're at concerts and would be introduced. And I think we premiered a piece, and then we played several, standard pieces that he had created. and he was always there. And it was just great to be able to meet him in person. And then, several years later, making my way to Center, and then finding out that he had spent time at Center was just, it was like full circle. And his passing was very sad, not only as a person, but of course, just that musical talent that ended way too early. And seeing his daughter, Pam Smith Kelly, now on Facebook all the time, and how she's carried on his tradition and, stays involved, is just really an honor and testament to him. But definitely a great person and a very talented person.
And I was really honored because my dad taught at Center, as a math teacher, and Claude was there during that time. And so I had those memories of my dad, being on faculty, with Claude. And I'll never forget, walking into our concert band library and seeing the catalog of pieces, from Claude's time, from Don's time. I mean, I think we had the best concert band catalog, of any high school band program anywhere. And you would pull these pieces out and they would have, signed scores, autographed scores. And I mean, what history, right there in our band program. And of course, Tim kept it meticulously organized. And so it was just such joy to explore our concert band library.
And Don Shaffer was just a band god. Just hands
Very
down,
much so.
a wonderful human being, wonderful musician, beloved by the community and by the students. And I also realized that Don Shaffer ran a summer band program. The reason I realized that is because one year I was particularly tired, and Don came to see me at the middle school and said, by the way, I'm going to go to Hallmark now, and I would like to have you take over the summer band program. I'm going, oh, okay. And so
surprise!
packing up and getting ready for their break, so to speak, I was organizing and starting a summer band, and we did summer band for years and years and years. And then also, Don Shaffer started a band down Hallmark Cards, and we were associated with that. And so, and just an amazing human being as well as director.
And my connection with Don was through SGA, because Don was a leader in the Redbridge Lions Club for a long time.
Yes.
And Redbridge Lions Club partnered with the Center High School Student Government Association to organize the annual pancake breakfast, which funded scholarships for graduating seniors at Center. And so I had the opportunity to work with Don for over a decade in that program, and just, I mean, the graciousness and the excellence, and again, organization, totally on board with his organization, but just his love of the kids and the way that he honored each applicant through the interview process. And then the Redbridge and the Lioness also would host the annual dinner to announce the scholarships and treat not only the honorees, the students themselves, but also their families. Class act all the way, completely class act. A great human, absolutely. And he was very much a lover.
Yes.
Any parting comments before we wrap this up?
I would just like to say thank you to Center for all of the years that I got to have. I started in 1971, and I was the first director that got what was asked to do choir and band. And so I did kindergarten through third grade music class and fifth and sixth grade band at Boone. And I did that for a number of years until they sent me to Center North Middle School. And then after they closed that portion of the district, then I was sent to Center South Middle School, and then the high school. All of those experiences are just beyond the thought of being able to be in that district for 30 years. And am just still continue to be amazed and thankful.
Tim?
I will always love Center. Always. Center will always be in my heart. And although still sad, still today from leaving, it was necessary. And a lot of growth professionally and personally has happened since then. But I will always be thankful for the 14 years of having an extended family of people that were loving and caring, that not only supported me as a person, but my professional growth as well. But then also just, took care of me and were very appreciative and allowed me to do the work with their students and with the colleagues at Center and all the families in the community. And so there are just so many memories and experiences that will last a lifetime. And I too love being in contact with so many of the kids and their families still, and being able to visit with them on occasion, or crossing paths in airports or vacation destinations or wherever it happens to be. And it's one of those situations where you pick up where you left off. You'll always be friends. You'll always have that care and love for each other, and you won't know anyone as a stranger. And it was truly magical. I mean, when they say that word and that term, for me, it was such an important time of my life and a very valued time of my life. And there's so many people on this screen, and there are so many other people, just thousands really, who I am so appreciative of. But that school district is a gem. It really is. And anyone that's had the opportunity, which there have been a lot of people for such a small district that have had the opportunity to cross its path and be a part of its history, are fortunate, absolutely hands down fortunate. There is no other situation on this planet that I'm aware of that can match the Center School District at all, ever. And although I very much appreciate and love what I do now, I will always be thankful and always love those years more than any that I've had ever.
Amy, thoughts?
Absolutely. D, all the above. And I'm just so thankful for the Center School District believing in me, coming right out of college to take over the band program and truly partner with Tim. I was very fortunate to have such a great personal relationship with Tim through my mother and my family, but to partner with him and work alongside him for the years that I did, and him introduce me to the magic that is Center and what has been described, here in this conversation, I will always be thankful. And that time for me at Center just laid the foundation for my professional career. And I just love the kids. Our kids in this district are fantastic. And I get emotional thinking about them because they're special people. And to see them so successful in their future and to keep up with them, it's such a gift. And, from memories, on the stage, on the field, to New York City, and the trips that we gave, we gave them and those experiences, and for the parents and the family members too. We would always joke that, the kids, we had them so trained, and we had to then make sure the family members were right along with us. But just those experiences in that time, I'm just forever grateful to the district and to the students for those memories, and thank you, Carolyn, for allowing me to be a part of, this history, and Tim for all of the memories that we created, and Rick, and, of course, to you and your family for your support. And I was so fortunate to have Alec as a student, and your family, and of course, to the foundation that complements a lot of the support and these experiences for these students. So just thankful.
Thank you so much. And Amy, you mentioned that the memories of the kids, and that's one of the things I think is such a hallmark of the Center School District is it truly is about the kids. And through the many years that this district's been around, it's always about students and doing what's right for kids and what's right for families. And the three of you just epitomize that. You've done it through music. We've got so many other teachers who do it through other disciplines. But in the end, it's all about what we're doing for kids and preparing them to be successful in life. And so thank you so much for what you've done for all of our kids, and also for sharing your stories today. We really appreciate it. This recording will be archived with our Center Museum and available for viewing. We will probably also use some excerpts from this in our upcoming Saturday Night Live event, which will be a broadcast event on April 10th. And there'll be lots more coming out about that, but we look forward to seeing your smiling faces virtually again on that evening. So thanks so much, and thanks everybody for watching, and take care of yourself.